Now we'll start with new topic, that is Fourier transform. The objectives of this today's topic are as follows. The first one is to define Fourier transform, that is the definition of the Fourier transform. The second objectives of the today's session is to solve the examples. That means once the first objective is going to be completed, after that we are going to solve the examples on the Fourier transform. Right? So as the name suggests, transform, so there is transformation. There are so many transforms you might be knowing. For example, Laplace transform, Fourier transform. So the Fourier transform that we are now going to undertake, that is related to the CT signals. CT signals we have already seen. CT means continuous time signal. That is continuous time signal. Now this Fourier transform, as it is related to the CT signal, it is also called as CTFT. That is abbreviated as CTFT, that is continuous time Fourier transform. If the Fourier transform is applied to the discrete time signal, as we know the DT signals are having the discrete values at discrete instances. So that is DT signal. If it is applied for the DT signal, it is abbreviated as DTFT. So discrete time Fourier transform. And now we are looking into continuous time Fourier transform. Okay. As transform is the word related to the Laplace transform, Fourier transform, discrete time Fourier transform, so there is transformation. So the CT signal, for example, suppose this is the CT signal, sine wave. So this is time axis, this is the parameter axis, xt versus t, this is the CT signal. So if we are taking the example of the sine wave here, so that is a continuous signal, or it is also called as periodic signal. So after one period, so this is the one period, that is time t. So period of this waveform is t. So it is repeating after a fixed time period t. So this is called as periodic signal. So these periodic signals are very well represented using Fourier series. So Fourier series are used to represent the periodic signal. There are different kinds of representation of Fourier series available. So you can represent the periodic signal using the Fourier series with the option that is trigonometric Fourier series. Trigonometric Fourier series. Another version is complex exponential Fourier series. That is complex exponential Fourier series representation. Now, as we are now dealing with the Fourier transform, we know the aperiodic signals. Aperiodic signals. Aperiodic means which are not periodic. Okay. So periodic signals are having fixed time period. So T is fixed, or you can say the finite time period. So finite time period for the periodic signal. Now for this aperiodic signal, for example, consider the aperiodic signal. This is xt, this is t. Suppose xt is equals to e raised to minus at. That is t is equals to 0 here. If you put t is equals to 0, e raised to 0 means what? It is equals to 1. If you put t is equals to infinity, e raised to minus infinity is equals to 0. So it will start at t is equals to 0 and it will reach to the 0 value when t is equals to infinity. So it is not repeating. It is not repeating. So these signals are called as aperiodic signals. These aperiodic signals are very well represented using Fourier transform. So this is the tool which is used to represent the aperiodic signals. Now we know we have also seen in the previous sessions, that is energy signals and power signals. All periodic signals or periodic signals are power signals, and all aperiodic or non-periodic signals are called as energy signals. So you can say, as I have stated, aperiodic signals are very well represented using the Fourier transform, whereas periodic signals are very well represented using the Fourier series. As now you can see here, aperiodic signals are energy signals, that means energy signals, and all the power signals are the periodic signals. So all the energy signals are Fourier transformable. All the energy signals are Fourier. You can say, so or we can make the statement, all the energy signals are Fourier transformable because they are aperiodic. Now, ideally, if you speak about the energy signal or aperiodic signals, just now we have seen the example, they have the time period, it is ideal time period of aperiodic signal is infinity. Just now we have seen the example of the exponential decaying CT aperiodic signals. Okay, so ideal time period is infinity, whereas for periodic signal the time period is finite. Okay, now these infinite time period signals can be represented using the Fourier transform. Now we'll see or look into the definition of the Fourier transform. So Fourier transform, now definition. Of Fourier transform. So we can write the definition. So the Fourier transform is represented by x of omega. So in some representation you will see x of omega, or in some books you may find it is represented by x of j omega. So this is one and same. So that is just the representation style. It is defined as, so integration right from minus infinity to plus infinity, x of t into e raised to minus j omega t into dt. Let it be equation number 1. So here x of t is a signal, CT signal. X of t is a signal, or you can say aperiodic signal in this case. So it is a time domain signal, as x of t is related to t, so it is a time domain signal. So this time domain signal we are converting into the frequency domain. So that is W is representing the frequency domain. Okay, with integrating with respect to t. So e raised to xt into e raised to minus j omega t into dt. So you can write whatever the signal described or given in the place of xt, and you can solve this integration. You will get the Fourier transform. So this is one thing. Another thing, so whenever you are transformation means what? You are transforming a time domain signal xt into the frequency domain signal x of omega or x of j omega. So there may be a question in your mind, why to use this Fourier transform? Why to use the Laplace transform? Why to use this transformation? Right? But if you see in the time domain, certain properties of the signals we cannot view, we cannot analyze. So those properties can be very well analyzed in the frequency domain. That's why we have to transform the time domain signal into the frequency domain signal. Right. Now this is how to transform the time domain signal into the frequency domain signal by using the equation number 1. So this is nothing but this is the definition of the Fourier transform. Then obviously we should be able to reconstruct or to get back our original signal. So original signal is xt. So as this Fourier transform is obtained by using the time domain signal x of t as x of w, then getting back the original signal x of t. So the equation is like this: 1 upon 2 pi integration minus infinity to plus infinity x of, that is capital X of j omega, into e raised to j omega t. So here minus j omega t, here we are using plus j omega t. xt is going to be replaced with x of j omega, and this integration dt is going to be replaced with d omega. So we are integrating with respect to d omega, that is equation number 2. So this is called as Fourier transform, ft, abbreviated as ft, and this is called as inverse Fourier transform, IFT. So this represent the equation number 2 represent the inverse Fourier transform, and equation 1 represent the Fourier transform, that is definition of the Fourier transform. Now this is the complex quantity, so you can write here x of j omega or x of omega, no issue. So which convention that you are using, no matter. Okay, either you can use x of j omega or x of omega. Now as I have just now told you, the Fourier transform is a complex quantity. So just see here, frequency spectrum using the Fourier transform, x of j omega represent the Fourier transform of time domain signal x of t, which is the complex quantity, and it is the function of omega. As it is the complex quantity, so we are representing this quantity into the real part and imaginary part. Just see, x of j omega, that is the real part, xr represented by r stands for real part, plus j means it is indicating the imaginary part. So xr j omega or xr omega is the real part of x of omega or x of j omega, and xi j omega is the imaginary part of x of j omega. Now we know the equation to find out the magnitude when the equation is given in the real part format plus imaginary part format. Definitely the magnitude of x of j omega is nothing but the square root of real part square plus imaginary part square. So this is indicating the magnitude of that Fourier transform. Now, or it is also called as magnitude spectrum. As we are dealing with the frequency spectrum is divided into the two parts. One is the magnitude spectrum and second is the phase spectrum. So magnitude spectrum is obtained, that is magnitude of x of j omega, which is equal to square root of real part square plus imaginary part square. Now I want to obtain the phase of x of j omega. So how to get the phase? So that is the angle of x of j omega, that is equals to tan inverse of, that is the standard equation, tan inverse of imaginary part divided by real part. Just see here this equation, tan inverse of imaginary part divided by real part. So this equation, that is equation number 3.7, shows the magnitude spectrum, and equation 3.8 shows the phase spectrum. Okay, so if the signal is real, again there are xt, for example xt, if xt is real, if you see the real signal, that means no complex part. So the magnitude spectrum for the real signal is always have the even symmetry, whereas phase spectrum have the odd symmetry. Just remember what I am saying. The magnitude spectrum, if xt is real, its magnitude spectrum is a even symmetrical value, whereas phase spectrum shows the odd symmetry. And magnitude spectrum plus phase spectrum together are called as the frequency spectrum of a given signal. Right? So this Fourier transform is going to transform the time domain signal xt, that is aperiodic time domain signal, that is continuous time signal, into the frequency domain. That's why the representation, that means sometimes Fourier transform is represented as a frequency spectrum transform. No doubt, all the transforms, whenever you are representing, goes into the frequency spectrum. That means representation in the frequency spectrum. Then, for which values or which are the conditions, definitely, which are the conditions for the existence of Fourier transform? So, those conditions are called as Dirichlet's conditions. Just see. Convergence of or existence of Fourier transform means what? Whenever you are finding out the transform of a given signal, definitely it should have the finite quantity. So finite quantity is called as convergence of that particular transform or existence of that particular transform. Then it has to follow certain conditions, and those conditions are called as Dirichlet conditions. Okay. Now just see, as these conditions are applicable to Fourier series, as well as those conditions are applicable to Fourier transform. So what are these conditions? First, see these conditions. There are three conditions. So these conditions are like this. The first one, the signal, given signal xt should be absolutely integrable and finite. Means what? The integration value, that means once you solve this integration, this is the xt, that is the signal, the magnitude of xt dt, it should be less than infinity. Means what? Integration, right, from minus infinity to plus infinity of magnitude of that xt dt should be finite. That is the first condition. The second condition, xt should have finite number of maxima and minima within any finite interval. Means what? Maxima means maximum values and minima means minimum values of that signal. Okay. So there should be finite values of maxima and minima. And third important condition, xt should have finite number of discontinuities within any finite interval. If there are discontinuities in the given signal, they should be finite. If there are maxima and minima in a given signal, then those maxima and minima should be finite. Okay. So these are the conditions that has to be followed by that particular xt. Then and then we can find out the Fourier transform of that particular given signal. Right. As I have stated, there are different transforms available. So definitely there is relationship between these transform. Now look into this. we'll first see the relationship between the Fourier transform and Laplace transform. Laplace transform is also a tool which is used for representing continuous time signal representation into the transform domain, right? It is also dealing with the continuous time signal. Its definition is just like the Fourier transform, just we'll see here. As we know, the equation of the Fourier transform, x of j omega or x of omega is equals to integration right from minus infinity to plus infinity xt e raised to minus j omega t dt. The bilateral Laplace transform of xt can be defined as j omega, or omega is used for representation of the Fourier transform. In place of j omega, s is used for the Laplace transform. It is also called as Laplace domain, or sometimes it is also called as S domain. S. So just see integration minus infinity to infinity xt e raised to minus st dt. If you compare these two equations, you will find that Fourier transform is a partial case of the Laplace transform, where s is replaced with j omega. That means in the Laplace transform, this s is going to be replaced using j omega. Okay, e raised to minus infinity to plus infinity xt e raised to minus st dt. That means if you replace this s by j omega, it will be the Fourier transform. Just see now. That means xs, if s is replaced with j omega, it will give you the Fourier transform. This is the partial case of the Laplace transform. Okay. Because s is also the complex quantity. You cannot directly represent s as j omega, but in Fourier transform, that is the partial case of the Laplace transform, where s is going to be replaced by j omega to represent the Fourier transform. As I have stated just now, s is the complex quantity. S is represented by sigma plus j omega, where sigma is the real part and this j omega is the imaginary part of this s. So if you see s is replaced with sigma plus j omega, so x of sigma plus j omega, so s is replaced with sigma plus j omega, this will look like this. Okay, then you can write xt into e raised to minus sigma t into e raised to minus sigma minus j omega t. So we can take it outside. So this is the representation. So this is the signal. You can say xt into e raised to minus sigma t, e raised to minus j omega t dt, that is the Fourier transform representation. Hence we can write x of sigma plus j omega is nothing but the Fourier transform of this quantity. Fourier transform of this quantity. So this indicates that means if we put the value of sigma that is equals to 0, then it will become the partial case of the Laplace transform, which is represented as a Fourier transform. It is not true for all the signal which are not absolutely integrable. Okay. So this is the partial case where sigma is going to be put equals to 0, but it is not true for all the signals which are not absolutely integrable. So we'll stop here. So this is the introduction and definition of the Fourier transform. In the next session, we'll solve simple examples related to the Fourier transform. Thank you.